Welcome back, everyone, for part 2 of this Illumination English video lesson on twister trouble. If you haven't seen the first video lesson where we talked through the article, practiced our pronunciation, please go back and watch that now before proceeding on to this vocabulary building section. In this section, we're going to be looking at the vocabulary here on the left-hand side that is taken in the exact same order as it appeared in the reading with our definitions. And then over here, we're going to make some sentences, and you can see a few that I've already made. Let's start with the vocabulary first. Okay, we've got ripped through. So if you rip through something, that means you kind of go through something with violent force. Okay, and very destructively. You might also see this verb phrase here, to tear through something. It means the same thing, rip or tear. Of course, they are both synonymous. It just means any kind of violent or destructive force moving through something. It can also be used like when you're looking for something and you're maybe trying to find something on your desk that's, piled high with papers. And if you're tearing through or ripping through everything there, you're just throwing the papers all over the place, not caring to keep them in a particular order. Okay, that's another usage of this phrase. Let's go on to twister, again, that which appeared in the title of the article. As I said, it's a kind of a colloquial way to use. Colloquial means it's just a different word form used by maybe locals in a particular area or region, and very common, used in everyday speech. So a twister is just another word for a tornado. And let's look at leveled next. So it has quite a few meanings, and I'm only going to focus on 3 of them here. Of course, the one that's used in the reading is to make flat or horizontal. So the town was leveled. You could say, the force of the wind blew the buildings down. Okay, so made them level with the ground. To level also, or being leveled, or something that is leveled, can also mean to be equalized, or to be put on a similar stance, okay, or level with others in some kind of perhaps competition of sorts. And also another word that could be synonymous could be ranked. So if you're let's see, if you have leveled readers, for instance, in English, children who are learning to speak English often learn from what's called leveled readers. So that would be used as an adjective, but it just means that they're ranked by first level would be, for really beginners, and then maybe level 5 or 6 would be for, more advanced readers. Okay, and the next word here in our list is power was out. Okay, so power, it means electricity. Now the power is out. Okay, you often see this power outage. Okay, so that's a noun here, but power was out, meaning no electricity. So out just means nothing, no electricity, no power. Okay, but it's just a kind of idiomatic way to say that. Next phrase here, we have stretching from. Okay, so to stretch doesn't literally mean, stretching as with your body. It means more like on a horizontal plane, to extend from one point to another. Okay, so stretching just gives it a more broad connotation, a broad meaning. Okay, so keep that in mind, especially when we go into part 3 for the knowledge check. Okay, to brace means to kind of prepare yourself, get ready for some kind of disaster, some bad thing to happen. It can be something like a tornado, or it can even be bad news. Okay, so whenever you want to get ready, you brace yourself. Okay. Our next word on the list is altitude, and this doesn't really have any idiomatic meaning. I just like the word itself, and in this context, I thought it would be useful talking about the elevation or height of something. Now let's go on to advances. In Okay, and notice the preposition here. Advances in something. So advances in something means to some kind of progress towards something. Development, growth, usually towards a goal of some kind or some object. The next verb phrase we have here is in the path of. Now, the word path itself is part of lots of other idioms, but we're just focusing on this one here. Something that's in the path of something else. Okay, so to be in the path of means you're moving along a course or a track. Okay, so you might also see this not in the exact same words here, something in its path. Okay, so it can be a destructive path too. You can add adjectives to it, but it means some kind of a course or a track in motion, moving along a course, which is what a tornado does usually, and it's usually fairly predictable. Okay, it depends on how the winds are blowing. Let's go to the last one here, stand a chance, which means to actually have a possibility of doing something or succeeding at something. It's often used, I think maybe even more often used, in the negative if something doesn't stand a chance or you don't stand a chance. Okay, it can be a person, can be a thing, can be an event. Now let's see how these words are used over here in our sentence area. Let's take a look at, I've made two sentences this time just to give you a better feel for how to use some of these words in sentences. The first one I chose was in its path, so I chose the alternate form of this expression. Let's read the sentence aloud together. Westward expansion, nothing could stand in its path. Okay, now by westward expansion, I'm focusing on American westward expansion from the East Coast near New York and so forth, all the way over to California, Oregon. Okay, so that was part of the 1800s, the government idea of westward expansion and manifest destiny. Okay, nothing could stand in the path of the government's drive to expand the country. All right, to make it stretch from the East Coast to the West Coast. All right, the next sentence, let's read this one together. New IOC regulations leveled the playing field for all athletes. Okay, so maybe there was some unfair competition at the Olympics, and the IOC is the International Olympic Committee, had to instate or create some regulations which would make it fair, more fair for athletes in some particular activity. Okay, so it leveled it, made it more equal. Now let's go down here in the blank section. This is time for us to make our own sentence. Let's see. I'm going to try to choose okay, let's do stand a chance. I like that. And let's think of something, well, let's put it in the negative since it is often used in that way, meaning that you have little to no chance of succeeding. And let's put it in a context. Let's see, it could be school or work. Okay, let's choose work. And let's make our text box here and extend it out here. Okay, so work context. Let's see. Okay, let's make our subject. You, or could be anybody, you plural. You don't stand a chance of getting a promotion or some other kind of, good thing happening to you. You don't stand a chance of getting a promotion if you don't upgrade your qualifications. Okay, that means, brush up your resume, take some courses or, get some other kind of experience, upgrade your skills, qualifications, certifications, which would qualify you for a higher position. All right, so here is in the negative. You don't stand a chance. It's impossible for you, meaning it's nearly impossible, okay, to get a promotion if you don't merit it, if you don't do something to work for it, to show your superiors that you are worthy and able to do that work in the promotion. Okay, this area down here, this blank box, if you saw the first video lesson in this series, this box is for you now to write your own sentence. So take one of these words from the word box here and use it in a sentence like I did. Don't worry about the grammar at first. First, just try to think about how you're going to say what you want to say. You might think in your own language first, and then try to translate it if necessary. And also, before you leave this screen, remember you want to take a screenshot, or if you've been writing these down diligently in your vocabulary notebook on pen and paper, you want to have those ready at hand for part 3 of this lesson, where we are having our knowledge check. It's a little quiz format. So I'll see you there in part 3.